Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from July 8th from Red State. And because the left just cannot seem to refer to any other leader that's not of their party as anything other than this H word that you see on your screen right here, we're going to go through another article. And this one says, just who is the American funny mustache German guy? Really? We'll call him that right now. And oh, picture, yay. So it says, I hope you, gentle reader, are sitting down when you read this column. I am, are you? It says, I don't mean to alarm you, but apparently one of the two current presidential hopefuls may well be a reincarnation of the Nazi Führer himself, and there's his name. And, you know, if you say those names on YouTube or some of those words, then, especially if they're all in a row like that, YouTube will probably clamp down on you pretty hard. So let's keep going. It says, that's right, the New Republic has delivered the goods on a Mr. Donald J. Trump. The man is a, H-word guy there, wannabe, nothing more than a vicious, Jew-hating, authoritarian Nazi, but not really. Yeah, I love, whenever I see this stuff about them calling Trump that particular word or comparing him to that funny mustache German retard, I'm going to probably get, hit for saying that word. But whenever they do that stuff, I'm always like, Trump has a Jewish daughter and 3 Jewish grandchildren, and he's the most pro-Israel president that has been around in, well, at least my lifetime, and how do you square that circle then? How do you do that? How do you get from that to he's one of these? It makes no sense. Okay, so what's that saying? Make it make sense. I'd love for someone on the left to try to explain that to me. But the New Republic, if you haven't seen it, they put out the cover of their I don't know if it's a magazine or just online, the picture of Trump that had a funny mustache on it, and it's just one of those things where you just want to go, come on, really? Again? We're doing this all over again? Didn't we do this in 2015, 2016? So let's go ahead and continue with the article. So still reeling from Joe Biden's recent debate debacle and the great senility nomination debate it has caused the Democrat Party, the Democrats in the mainstream media, but I repeat myself, are casting about for a new way to shift the public's attention from the Democrat chaos to some negative news regarding the Republican candidate Donald Trump. So they have settled on an old Democrat attack chestnut. Donald Trump is a Nazi who wants to emulate funny mustache guy or other fascist dictators. Funny, but fascism is a left-wing ideology. Donald Trump doesn't seem to be left-wing in that respect anyway. It's a far-left ideology. You don't think it is? Well, try again. I say this is an old chestnut because since I started paying attention to politics in the late 1980s, the Democrats and mainstream media have taken great delight in labeling current Republican nominee for president as the new funny mustache guy and that particular N-word. As they did it to Ronald Reagan, they did it to George W. Bush, and I remember that, and I wasn't even paying that close of attention to politics at that time, but I definitely remember that. So George H.W. Bush was caricatured as one, and his father was as well, making things even worse for George W. Bush. So John McCain had those ties, according to the Barack Obama campaign, and both Madonna and Family Guy explicitly said he was a, what it says right there. Obama's main consultant, David Axelrod, characterized Mitt Romney as one of those, and I am told the Democrats and mainstream media did it to Barry Goldwater and Richard Nixon. No word on Gerald Ford, maybe they forgot. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, so obviously this is an old trick, and I'm sorry, but if you're still falling for it at this point, I don't know what to tell you. I'd love to sell you some swampland in the middle of Nebraska, though. Maybe you'll go for that. It says, this Democrat attack on Republicans for being a that thing there is incredibly dumb. Nazism is on the political left and not on the political right. Thank you. Somebody actually mentioned that. It says, that N-word with the Z is a member of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, led by funny mustache guy, which controlled Germany from 1933 to 1945. And as the author of the article said before, it says the N with the Z word were socialists. Just look at their name. And I know that whenever someone on our side says that, there's people on the left that go, well, that doesn't mean anything. Like the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which is North Korea, it says democratic, and they're not. They just are playing word games with you. And it's these folks here, these World War II German folks, weren't really trying to hide from it. Okay, and just, again, go look at their policies and everything. They were socialists. Okay, it says, and just because they fought the communists, that doesn't make them right-wing. That's correct. It was, as I've heard it described, it was like two rival gangs fighting over the same territory. Okay, that's what it was. It says Trotskyite communists fought Stalinists, but they were both communist left-wing factions. The Mensheviks fought the Bolsheviks, but both were left-wing. Further, the NZ word ideology is entirely opposite to that of the conservative Americans to whom they are often lumped together by the mainstream media. That is 100% correct as well. An American conservative is a person who believes in smaller government, less regulation, and more individualism. An NZ word believed in big government, which regulated everything and anything, and that the individual should prostrate himself before the state and the state's leader, funny mustache guy. And if you don't believe me, check out any objective historical book, and it has a thing like this. I wonder what book that is. It could be like an Amazon link, right? I don't know whose book that is, but okay. Check it out. There's a link there. And the link for this entire article is in the description below. Continuing on, it says, it is only because of Soviet propaganda that the NZ words were rebranded as a party of the political right. So the Democrats and mainstream media are relying on false Soviet talking points to attack their Republican opponents as those words there. So I've heard that. I don't know much about the background of that, but I'm not surprised. It says, even worse, while this, the funny mustache guy / NZ word attack on all Republicans is incredibly dumb, it is even dumber to use it specifically against Donald Trump. And it looks like it's going to go into what I mentioned earlier. It says, as is well known, Trump's daughter, Ivanka, has converted to Judaism, and she has raised her 3 children as Orthodox Jews with her Jewish husband, who Donald seems to like. That's good. Also, Donald Trump grew up in New York City, the city with the largest Jewish population in the world, more so than, Israel, or is it second to Israel? I thought it was second to Israel. Could be wrong about that. So his organization and businesses have employed many Jews, and he has socialized in New York high society with many Jews over the decades. Neither Ivanka nor any of these other Jews, including Michael Cohen, who now hates Donald Trump, have ever charged that Donald Trump wants to, K-word, or even discriminate against them as Jews, as would a real NZ word. I hate all the hoops I have to jump through reading this. This meaning, in MSM parlance, there is no evidence for these charges, none at all. There never was. It's just baseless accusations that they're throwing out there to try to defame him. That's it. It's all it's ever been. It says, but what is especially disgusting about this characteristic Democrat propaganda attack is that today, on our streets and colleges, there are American socialists running amok who want to K-word or harm American Jews, and in some cases they are doing so. These people are, by definition, NZ words, and without a doubt, almost all of these people are registered Democrats. Democrats are doing what they've always done, aren't they? Just not wearing the hoods this time. So what are Biden and Democrat local officials doing to stop these actual NZs from continuing their violence and anti-Semitism? Nothing, legally, despite the vast number of both federal and state charges that could be asserted against these criminals. And politically speaking, Biden and the Democrats are, in fact, appealing to these appealing to these NZ words for their votes, either by refusing to enforce the laws against their criminal actions and or by acting in the foreign policy realm to punish the Jewish state of Israel in its defensive war against the terrorist state of Hamas. And that Hamas is not a state, so there you go. I know what you mean, but still. So, to sum up, the Democrats' mainstream media attacks on Donald Trump as a new funny mustache guy and as an NZ word is nothing more than disgusting, but sadly normal Democrat mainstream media propaganda. But, in this case, it is also unbelievable chutzpah by the Democrat Party that is today protecting the real NZ words in our midst. And it may be one other thing. It may be another example of projection on their part. It's always projection, especially when it comes to like the far left. That's all they do. They lie and they project. That's it. And last sentence here says, as I described above, we have to acknowledge that there is some evidence of this. I would say there is more than some evidence of this. I'd say there's quite a bit of evidence of this, but the left is doing what the left always does. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think Donald Trump is this dude right here in the picture? Or do you think the media is just being idiots like they always are? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.